Ollie Watkins is now an injury doubt going into game week 29, which has caused a major headache for FPL managers. In this video, I'm going to discuss exactly what you should do with him, whether you are free hitting or not. As always, make sure to drop a like, aim for 200 on this video. And if you can, smash the subscribe button. And enough chatting, let's get into today's video. So what exactly is causing all the commotion regarding Ollie Watkins? I think we were all hoping for a nice, peaceful game week, but this has definitely thrown a spanner in the works. So Aston Villa played last night in their Europa League game. Ollie Watkins scored, which was fantastic. Ended up getting injured in the process, carried on for 10 minutes and then had to be substituted. Now, these are quotes taken directly after the game. First up, Unai Emery stated, "We don't know exactly what the issue is. Maybe for Sunday he could be available." And a reminder, of course, the deadline is Saturday morning UK time and they are playing Sunday afternoon. So if we do get something by Unai Emery saying he might be available, that isn't really helpful for us FPL managers. Now, Leon Bailey went on to say, "It looked really bad when I saw it. It was an open wound." There are a few pictures going around where, I can't lie, it doesn't really look that bad. I don't want to put it on the screens just in case we have some squeamish people on here. But it doesn't look terrible. It does sound like it was precautionary on why Ollie Watkins came off, but still, it isn't good preparation at all going into the weekend. Now, we should hopefully get a press conference this afternoon with some clarification on the status of Ollie Watkins. So if you want to stay up to date with that, make sure you are subscribed or at least follow my Twitter handle. I'll share anything that we do see. But if we do get news that Ollie Watkins is ruled out, I do think we need to prepare ourselves for what we will do exactly with our teams. And we'll come on to that now. So just to deep dive a little bit more on how Aston Villa got on last night, because I think it's quite important to who we're going to select for our teams on this weekend. A Thursday game is great because we get an idea on which players are in favour under Unai Emery. And last night, we saw Matty Cash start at right back. However, with Aston Villa playing away against West Ham, I just don't really feel any confidence going for any Aston Villa defenders necessarily. Alex Moreno did start, but with the rotation of Digne, again, I don't know which one of those are going to start at left back for Aston Villa. And for that reason, I think they are just a hard avoid going into it. Big news is Diego Carlos did go off with a small injury, so that could be a concern for Aston Villa defensively and maybe improves West Ham as attackers. But looking at the rest of the team, obviously they had the luxury to bring off some of their big guns later on in the game. But the big thing, Ollie Watkins going off in the 35th minute did see Duran come on for Aston Villa, and you can see here ended up scoring in the 75th minute. Only 5 million as a forward. So if we do get news that maybe he is ruled out for a few weeks in the shape of Ollie Watkins, we could maybe see John Duran get some game time, and at 5 million, a good differential for our teams. But as of right now, I think it is a little bit risky to even consider Duran, because even if Ollie Watkins is out, it doesn't absolutely guarantee that Duran is going to play 90 minutes in the coming game weeks. But this is a good idea on how they were preparing and how they are going to navigate the upcoming game weeks. Remember, McGinn will be ruled out for game week 29. He was available for the Europa League, but not for the Premier League off the back of that red card. Now, another team that did play last night and had a thumping victory was West Ham against Freiburg. You can see the goal scorers there, and a few of these are highly considered in a lot of free hit teams. Paqueta with the opening goal, Bowen with a goal, Cresswell with a goal at left back. That one's really important, obviously, with the previous injuries that they've had. Cresswell coming in at left back could be a nice differential for some FPL managers. And then Mohamed Kudus with that unbelievable solo goal and then a brace for the night. So defensively, I think Cresswell is the big standout right now. This could be a really nice differential for managers who are looking to go for West Ham assets. If Watkins is ruled out, maybe that does improve West Ham defensively. The rest of the team, Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus, we were always expecting that three behind Antonio, and I think that will be the same three that we see on the weekend. And I'm quite excited by owning some West Ham attackers. I think Jarrod Bowen is a lock in a lot of our free hit teams, but I've done a video yesterday, make sure you check it out, with a Paqueta Kudus comparison. We can go off kind of the narrative of last night and say that Kudus is now Lionel Messi and we all have to own him on our teams. But I have said since day one that Kudus is the more exciting FPL option. And sometimes when you are free hitting, you want to go for the players that you just get excited by on the field. And Kudus always ticks those boxes. So read into this what you will, but I do think this team that you're seeing on your screens will be close to what we see on Sunday against Aston Villa, and no real injury concerns from West Ham. So in the worst case scenario, we get some news that Ollie Watkins is ruled out for game week 29. What should you do with your teams? Well, it's going to depend on exactly what kind of strategy you have in place. if you're in a position right now where you're not free hitting in game week 29, but you maybe are looking to wildcard in game week 30, again, this is of the premise that maybe Ollie Watkins is confirmed out. I think Tony is the best alternative. The reason being is he has a game in game week 29, importantly, with guaranteed minutes. And also, he plays in game week 30 with a decent fixture. So even if you want to push your wildcard back for one more week to game week 31, Tony covers you off for the next 2 game weeks. Duran, that you can see on your screens at 5 million, is a really nice alternative, and we'll come on to in a minute, but I'd have no guarantees that he plays in 29 and 30. And Muniz as well. Going to come on to Muniz in a minute, but if you are just looking for a no free hit strategy and you want a direct Watkins replacement, then I think Tony is your man. But again, please do not rush to sell in Watkins, because even if he is ruled out for game week 29 and your score can actually cope with it, he has a great fixture at home against Wolves in game week 30. So you're probably going to want Watkins regardless in your sides. But this is of the premise that he is completely ruled out. Now, in terms of free hitting, because I think Tony's the obvious move if you're not free hitting, we could have some alternatives in our teams. And we're going to come on to what my plans are with Watkins in a minute, because I think there is quite an interesting route that we can go for. But Duran, some people think that he'll just automatically come in for Watkins. I've put numbers up for all of the players here, but realistically, Duran has played so limited minutes that it's almost impossible to come to any conclusions with him. And my thought process is, if Watkins isn't in the team, that just actually completely makes the Villa attack worse. So for that premise, even though Duran is a really attractive price at 5 million, just don't really feel that compelled to go there in a free hit team. Money isn't really an issue on our free hits, so the 5 million price tag just doesn't really make a difference. Muniz is the interesting one. I've spoken about him before. I've been wanting to put him in my team ahead of Carlton Morris because, as you can see, he's had good minutes now. We can kind of get to some sort of idea on how he's going to perform this season, and the numbers are really good. The only concern is there's a rumour going around that Armando Broja, if he doesn't start for Fulham this weekend, then they're going to have to pay Chelsea like millions of pounds due to the loan agreement that they had. So be cautious of that. Maybe the contractual situation means that Armando Broja has to start this weekend and could take some minutes off Muniz. And it is worth noting, Muniz does have a tricky fixture against Spurs, probably the toughest of the bunch that we're looking at. So to conclude, if Watkins is ruled out and you're not free hitting in 29, Tony is your man. But do not be rushing to sell Watkins, because you are going to lose a lot of value in him and you might just want him back in game week 30. So coming into my latest free hit draft, game week 29, and you can see Watkins is still there. Now, I still think Watkins should be in your free hit drafts unless he is completely ruled out. Now, I'm not going to lie. I think the press conference today for Unai Emery is going to be a classic case where he says, Watkins come off precautionary, we're hoping he'll be available. That is perfect for those that are free hitting, not good for those that aren't. In an ideal situation for free hitters, we want Watkins to be potentially touch and go, and then he doesn't play, because this really plays into the strength of the free hit and the bench. A lot of people that aren't free hitting, of course, are going to be in a situation where they don't have a bench to accommodate if Watkins doesn't play. So I currently have Watkins in the team. The reason behind it is this. I think there are no other forwards in the game that I realistically want to own in a free hit draft. We could put Duran in there, but do I think Duran is better than the midfielders in the game? No, I think there are way better midfielders than Duran. And the same is going to apply for Muniz. I'm a little bit worried about this Broja situation, so because of that, I don't value him more than a fifth midfielder. So Watkins either starts or he gets 0 minutes in my eyes. So the thought process is this. Watkins is in the team. If he doesn't play at all, then you have a brilliant first sub, and you want to really think about who that fifth midfielder is going to be. In this case, I have put it as Kudos at home against Aston Villa. Yes, maybe last night has kind of swung me a little bit, but I do think Kudos is still a fantastic option. So if Watkins doesn't play, Kudos comes straight in, and this formation changes to a 3-5-2. So I think this is really good news for free hitters, and I'm hoping Watkins is actually ruled out. But unless he is completely ruled out, I think you do just include him in your free hit team, and then we just go with the flow. Looking at the rest of the team, just to give you a bit of an update if you haven't caught yesterday's video, going for the double Brentford, I don't see a single clean sheet out there. After watching Luton concede 4 against Bournemouth, I am just not wanting to go for the double Luton. So double Brentford by default, and Reguilon has been pictured back in training. So if we do get a positive press conference today, I'm going to put him in the team. Otherwise, that could be Rosselev as the alternative wing back in that Brentford side. Doughty is locked in, and I'm almost certain Pedro Porro is going to be the Spurs defender of choice. I'm not really that tempted by a third Spurs midfielder. None of them are really standing out. In terms of the alternative defenders, we've got Robinson. I think he offers attacking output. Don't see a clean sheet. And we're going for Cresswell as well. I think he is the left back in this West Ham team. So I do think he is a good option as well. Moving forward, Maddison, Son, Bowen, just pick themselves really. But I'm still on this Elanga train. I know a lot of people were saying about his minutes, and I do get it. He is a rotation risk after being a sub in the previous game and coming on. But after reading some of the forums at Forest, a lot of people are predicting that he will come back into the team. And I do think he is their best attacker in terms of underlying numbers. And when we're targeting the defence, I do want an attacker against this Luton team. I don't see him keeping a clean sheet. And Forest have had a full week's rest in preparation for what they will deem a key game to win this week. They're not on the beach, they're fighting for their lives alongside Luton. The good thing is Luton played midweek. So I am really on the train of Elanga. It could be Gibbs White if I do get a little bit put off about Elanga's minutes. Gibbs White is probably the sensible pick. But when you're free hitting with so many template players, I want a few that are going to really offer me high upside. And I do think Elanga is that man. And in terms of the front three, we covered that off already. Tony, Watkins, Morris. Unless Watkins is fully ruled out, he's in the draft with Kudos being the first sub to replace him in this team. So that's the latest free hit draft with the Watkins news. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Yes, guys, okay, that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I will be doing a deadline live stream and maybe a live stream tonight off the back of those press conferences. So as always, make sure you are liking the video and smashing that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.